Hi, welcome back to the channel. So in a recent update on the Greek super yacht fire incident on the island of Hydra, we posted a video, probably went out the same day this has gone out, where we talked about what was going on board the vessel in terms of not necessarily on board the vessel, but what's going on with the vessel. We have three stories effectively. One from the captain of the vessel, one from the guest, let's call him the leader of the guest, the guy who ordered the charter as far as I can tell. And the third story is from the captain of another yacht or boat that was in the area, aka the eyewitness. Now in the video we posted last night on the main channel, some people were saying that I personally had basically judged and convicted them on the channel, which is ridiculous. But I want to go through the three stories to explain where I'm coming from here before I say what I'm going to say. So the first story is the eyewitness. He says that he saw the Persephone's inflatable tender boat on shore as the hillside blazed. The personnel on the beach appeared to be collecting objects, he said, and then the tender returned to the yacht. There were, now, first of all, those objects could have been anything. Could have been shoes, bottles, anything that they'd taken ashore. He said the crew members were in turnout gear on Persephone's bow, the captain said. That's the captain, the eyewitness captain. And there were signs of firefighting chemicals on the water near the shore. So he's saying that the turnout gear refers to firefighting equipment. The crew, fire team, were dressed in their equipment. Now, I can't be sure why that was. It's possible that they were preparing to be taken ashore to fight that fire that they'd started, if they indeed started the fire. And then it was so big by the time they were ready that they said, oh, there's no point going ashore. We can't fight that. It's beyond our capabilities. That's a possibility. It's unlikely, because if they're going ashore, they don't have any fire hoses. They would only have, canisters, firefighting canisters, CO2 and water canisters, which is only for small fires, right? Now, the eyewitness also said he saw those types of containers on the vessel, right? So it sounds like by his testimony that they were preparing to fight a fire. So that's what he says. He says he saw there were signs of firefighting chemicals on the water near the shore, which suggests that they went ashore to have a look. Right now, the photograph that's been widely used by all of the media of Persephone at anchor with the hill blazing in the background, that was taken from a small rib. Now, it's quite possible that rib was from the other yacht, and they were leaving the area, and they took that photograph as they left. Anyway, that's the first statement. The second statement is from the captain of Persephone, and he says no use of flares, sparklers, or fireworks of any kind was ever made from anyone on or off the yacht. In a relevant check, all the naval flares were found intact. Now, he's referring to the pyrotechnics they keep on board the yacht in order to, if there's an emergency, they can fire flares and stuff like that. So he's saying that we did an inventory check and they were all in check, right? Now, the third statement was from the leader of the charter guests. So he's the charterer. So he's the guy who chartered the vessel. He says, neither I nor my guests carried out any actions that could lead to a fire. We strictly follow the fire safety rules established on the yacht. Neither I nor my guests asked the crew of the yacht or any third parties to take any action that could lead to a fire. We will cooperate with the Greek authorities in their ongoing investigation, and in light of that ongoing investigation, it would be inappropriate to comment, speculate further at this time. So there's three statements, right? You've got one from the captain, one from the guest's leader, and one from the eyewitness. Now, what I said in last night's video is that it would appear that somebody is lying, right? Now, those three instances, I don't think they can all be true at the same time, right? Now, reading between the lines, the captain, the eyewitness, says he saw them preparing to fight the fire. That doesn't mean they started the fire. It's possible that they were on the beach. I'm just going through the possibilities here. It's possible they were on the beach. The fire started, further away from where they were. They saw the fire. They reported it to the boat. The boat sent their fire team to get ready to go and fight the fire because they knew what could happen if it spread. And then it got out of hand. So they left and called the authorities. That's a possibility, right? We can't rule that out. He says he saw the people on the beach picking things up. That's not definitive either. So they could have been just picking up the stuff that they took ashore. Now, one of the things that happens on a super yacht when the guests want to go ashore is the crew, they prepare that. So they prepare an area on the beach. This is usually how it happens. I'm not saying this is definitely what happened here, but usually what happens is the crew go ashore and they prepare an area on the beach. They'll put blankets down, they'll put the umbrellas, they'll put chairs, they'll take refreshments, they'll take maybe a stereo if it's a quiet area, they'll take music and stuff like that. Then once that's all ready, then the boat, crew-manned boat will take the guests ashore, and then they hang out on the shore. What usually happens then is all of the crew come back to the boat, bar one or two usually, who will stay ashore. And in case they ask for anything, if they want more water or beer or ice or whatever, and then they will communicate with the boat and they'll go back and forward in the boat to collect it. That's usually what happens. That's a generic, super yachts crew working on a shore party. So that's what would have happened most likely in this scenario. So you've got to look at it from a point of definitives, right? There's nothing definitive here. The eyewitness, based on what we know, he's probably said more. We don't know. That might be the whole of the entirety of his statements. That might just be the cliff notes. It could be a lot more in depth. It could have video. It could have photos. We don't know at this point. So we're simply going by what is already out there, and it's not definitive. Now, what I said in the video last night was that it would appear that somebody's lying, right? Based on those three stories. Initially I would have said that they can't all be true, right? But it is possible that they can be true, but it's unlikely. I'm just saying that you can't rule out anything. You can't make any definitive statements because there are none, right? If there was a video of them firing fireworks, then that would be pretty definitive, right? Now, it's possible that the guests went ashore and the crew didn't know they had pyrotechnics, and then they started to set them off, and the crew were like, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this. They call the boat, the fire starts, the crew start to get ready, then they leave. That's a possibility, but that it means that the captain is not telling the truth, right? That's a possibility. Now, one of the things that he said in the statements which caught my attention, what the captain said, is he said they did a check on the pyrotechnics when after the incident. They checked all of their pyrotechnics and they were all in check, right? They had all of them. There was none missing. Now there will be the vessel will have all these pyrotechnics for emergencies, as I said, but they will make an inventory of them when they come on board. They're all stored on the bridge and in a go bag and stuff like that. So if there's an emergency and they have to abandon ship, they get into the go bag, and then that gets taken to the lifeboats so they can send up flares when the search and rescue come looking for them. Now, one of the things that happens is when you get these pyrotechnics, they last for about, I think it's 2 years. I might be wrong on that one. I think it's 2 years they last, and then you have to replace them. When after, let's say it's 24 months, someone will correct me if that's not correct, but let's say it's 24 months. Once they've expired, there's a date on them, just like food. There's a date on there. Once that date expires, they have to be replaced. Now, one of the problems with pyrotechnics is that they're inherently dangerous, right? So nobody wants to transport them. You can't mail them to some place. You can't take them to a tip. You can't take them to to scrap them or something, because they're explosives. So what the crew normally do is they take the expired pyrotechnics and they use them in fire drills on board. So we fire them off at sea. We fire them off, to do crew training. It's the best way to do crew training, right? We don't need them anymore. quite expensive to buy, so you're not just going to buy them to use in training, but once they've expired, you fire them off, and then all you've got then is garbage, because once you've fired the pyrotechnics off, then you just got like plastic and metal containers and stuff like that. So what I would be looking for if I was one of the investigators is, when did you replace your pyrotechnics? Obviously you can see the date on the new pyrotechnics, and how did you get rid of your old pyrotechnics? Because there would be a trace. If they sent them off, the expensive way to get rid of them is you send them off and you have to declare that there's pyrotechnics, and then you have to pay a lot of money for them to be transported to somewhere to be destroyed. If they did that, they'll have a record of it. If they didn't do that, then I would assume that they fired them off on the vessel. Now it's possible that this is what was used by the shore party, right? They took them ashore, fired them off there. So that's a possibility. So the investigators said that they went back to the scene and they found remnants of pyrotechnics. So they'll already have a good idea of what kind of pyrotechnics they were, if they were like generic fireworks, or if they were more sort of industrious types, you know, like marine ones. So that will be something to look at for the investigators. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave it there. I just wanted to add this because of some of the comments that were in the previous video, and I just wanted to expand on what we said in last night's video, because it wasn't the best video in terms of being able to put it together. Like I said, we were on the road, I had no researchers, so I had to do all of the research myself, and that probably wasn't as smooth as it would normally have been, and what I'm talking about now would have been in that video ordinarily. I thought I would post an extra one here, and then you can read it, you can listen to it and make your own mind up based on what I've said. If you've got any information, if you're a crew member of any vessel, if you work in the yachting industry and you've got any ideas that I might have missed, or information that might be incorrect in this video, please put it below in the comments. All right guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye bye.